they say it's a Jewish state and y'all aren't Jews. And
exactly.
And y'all say, but the thing is, y'all say we're not Jews. So that's where it gets tricky. But they've not let Messianic Jews in for the same reason. They say y'all aren't really Jews, right? Yeah. They've let some Christian groups in. So I mean, they seem to have wiggle room when they want to have wiggle room. Which I find interesting. There's an urgency though to that question I asked you, because some of y'all are getting deported. There's been they've issued deportation orders in the last year or two. Where does that stand? Are they still threatening to deport you?
We've been fighting this for actually much longer, Mark, but it came to a head about 3 years ago, and they issued deportation letters to those that were here. But these are individuals who basically fell through the cracks of the original agreement back in 1990. That's the reality. And we were trying to get that sorted out over the years, and it was a can that the government, and in fairness, many of the families that are now under this gun, they didn't see the importance of it then. Right. But nevertheless, they ignored it. And much like we tend to do, we tend to just, be apathetic in those areas. But nevertheless, we rallied and said, no, we are not going to allow this, just like we did at the Day of Show of Strength, that we could not take that kind of hit. We're talking about 135 brothers and sisters who have intermarried and are very, very integral to the community. They're our family here. So we couldn't take that kind of hit. And we said, we're going to rally behind them. And as it's traditionally the case in any country, and particularly in the Americas, that when you have these movements, one of the main ways that they will break them is to issue arrest warrants, imprison, and then you have the long, dragged out court proceedings that are expensive.
But why do they want to do that to y'all? I mean, if you've proven yourselves, if you're a part of the military, I mean, y'all are and I'm critical of you all for this. If you all are as down with the IDF as anybody else, I've seen y'all make rap videos that Israeli children are listening to. I've seen y'all make food and y'all have influenced the military to take on veganism. You all have had people in beauty pageants. You all have had people be educational leaders. I guess what I'm saying is, you all are, if you're so well woven into society and they don't see you as a threat anymore, why not just let the other handful of families stay?
Because again, Mark, in that ultra religious sector of the society, of Israeli society, if you were to talk to the average Israeli on the streets, particularly those who coming from Western countries, from the US, etc., when you mention that the root of our problem is found with the Ministry of Interior, they go to rolling their eyeballs, like our sister Brianna, and right. And so they are familiar with the obstacles and the opposition that comes from that segment of the society. And Netanyahu or any other politician could have long ago resolved our problems. There are two people who could sign off on this problem and it'd be finished. And those two people are the Prime Minister and the Minister of Interior. But if they did that, they immediately would face the backlash from those political parties, from those religious political parties. And so they're hesitant. They don't want to do that. And so they continue to kick the can down or up the road. But to bring you up to speed, though, we've had numerous court hearings. We've been back and forth in the ranks of the Ministry of Interior. We've been through the earlier judicial system. And as you know, Israel, leading up to October 7th, was on the brink of civil war around this whole idea of judicial reform.
Yeah.
And so that put a pause in that. But the courts were basically kind of back and forth, ruling for and against. And we ended up having, I think, about 14 families who were given permanent or temporary residency with the same plan to go forward. And then we had others who were given the opportunity to apply for humanitarian on the humanitarian track, and so we're rolling along with it. We're still fighting it, but life goes on for us. Everything is on pause relative to anyone being deported. However, that
Okay.
is a matter of record that they cannot deport us right now.